Coming up on this week's episode of Flashtalk, Kent State men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff previews his team's trip to the NIT. Women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey recaps his team's fantastic season. Director of sports medicine at the Cleveland Clinic and orthopedic surgeon Lutul Farrow talks about the partnership with Kent State Athletics. And finally, gymnastics head coach Brice Biggin previews the MAC championships this week for his team in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. All that and more coming up in a flash. Joined on Flash Talk by Kent State men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff. Coach, your team is playing in a postseason tournament now for the third time in the last 4 years. The first time under you, the team's playing in the NIT. How excited are you for the opportunity?
Well, it's awesome for our guys, and to get invited to the NIT is really a testament to the work that they've put in all season long. The schedule that we've played. We try to challenge ourselves each year with a really difficult non-conference schedule. The league schedule this year, the way it played out, had us playing one of the toughest in-league schedules of anyone in our conference. And, I think we got rewarded for having had a really successful season and playing the schedule that we played is giving us an opportunity to continue this year. And I'm grateful that our team got recognized in the way that we did. So really appreciative of the committee that selects those teams and the fact that we got the opportunity to continue to compete.
How cool is it for this group of seniors to have one last chance to go compete?
Anytime you get a chance to put on the uniform and get a chance to play is great. You can't take it for granted. Quite honestly, when we lost Friday, I thought our season was over. I did not anticipate us getting this call. And I was really excited that we did this again. It's the first time since I've been the head coach that we've been invited to the NIT. And I know the prestige of the event. I know the history of the event. And I'm really grateful that we have a chance. I mean, in our arena, we have a banner for all the NIT appearances that our school has had. In our locker room, we have, a picture for all the teams that play in postseason. Obviously, playing in the NCAA tournament is everybody's goal, and it certainly is ours. But there's only 2 teams in our conference that are continuing to play. And we're one of those 2. So to have an opportunity to do that is awesome.
Against St. Bonaventure, tell the viewers the relationship you have with Coach Schmidt a little bit and how excited you are to see a familiar face on the sideline.
We scrimmage them every year. I've been the coach here for 14 years. Mm-hmm. And outside of the COVID year, I think we have scrimmaged them, 13 seasons. Maybe we took 1 year off, potentially, but I think we scrimmaged them 13, 11, 12 times, preseason closed door scrimmage. It's funny because I've never played in their arena with fans, and I don't think he's ever played in our arena with fans. So it'll be a different experience because I know how great a home court environment they have, but I've stayed in the hotel that we're staying in a number of times. It's awesome to play in March. It's exciting for our team. It's great for our university. Again, it's not the stage of the NCAA tournament. That's the grand stage of it all. But we're playing in a national tournament on national television with great exposure against great teams. And I'm really appreciative that we got selected and we get to represent our conference. We get to represent our school. Our players get an opportunity to compete again for each other. And it's really a testament to the hard work that they've put in. It's an acknowledgement to, again, our schedule. When you look at who we played this year and you see Towson won the regular season in their league, Cleveland State won the regular season in their league, UC Irvine, who's in this event, Auburn, Alabama, who, are top seeds, Arkansas State, who won the regular season in their league. So, it's a culmination of all of those things, how we finished our season, our metrics showing that, we're a top 100 defense in the country, where we rank in terms of the net and the Ken Palm and all of those other metrics. It's great to see that we got recognized in that fashion, because we didn't have to be selected, and we did. So very appreciative that we did. It allows us to continue to play, and I've got a lot of guys that are very grateful for the opportunity, and now we get to go out there and compete. It's going to be a tough game.
Coach, we appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thank you.
When it comes to reaching your goals, having the right support can make all the difference. That's why we trust Green Lending, Kent State Athletics' exclusive mortgage partner, to help you achieve your home ownership dreams.
Just like on the court, everyone has a role to play. With the right teammates, any dream is possible. Green Lending is here to be that support to help you make those big moves in life.
Visit greenlending.com and let Green Lending help turn your dreams into reality.
Green Lending, helping Golden Flashes achieve their biggest dreams on and off the court.
Joined by Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey. Coach, your season comes to an end in the MAC tournament semifinal, a tough loss against Ball State. We'll briefly touch on that matchup. What would you have liked to see a little bit differently in that second half? I know Ball State's a really tough team. They ended up winning the whole thing.
Seen differently. Let's see if we had made more shots at the beginning, so we weren't in a 12-point hole at the beginning. You can't spot a really good team like Ball State 12 points at the end of the first quarter. I mean, I thought our team admirably tried to fight back. We cut it to 8 a few times. We had possession of the ball with down 8 a few times. They could have cut it even more. We missed some shots or had some turnovers that led to points for them, and it just felt like we couldn't quite get over that threshold. So a lot of credit to Ball State. Obviously, they won the MAC tournament like we did last year. Mm-hmm. You can't have your way every time, but I think they'll do a great job of representing the Mid-American Conference in the NCAA tournament, and really proud of this team for the way they fought all the way to the end.
Bridget Dunn collected her 13th rebound of the game against Ball State. She broke the single-season rebounding record, 332 rebounds. Can you describe what that type of record potentially means to her, and also how she became this type of great defensive rebounder?
Bridget's a great development story. I mean, I think she's a player that really changed her mindset about halfway through her career and just really said, all right, I'm capable of this. I think it just took a little bit of success on that side of things. I think what really kickstarted her into being the elite rebounder that she is was last year's MAC tournament, when she averaged a double-double and was on the all-MAC tournament team. I think that just continued to give her even more confidence coming into this year to end up being one of the best defensive rebounders in the country this year. 332 rebounds is a lot in a season, and it's great for somebody like Bridget, as high quality a person she is, as hard as she's worked for it to set a single season record for Kent State women's basketball. I think it's an incredible accomplishment for her.
How rewarding is it for you, Coach, to see the development? Not only you mentioned Dunn, but Jenna Batch, her last 2 years, and Maya Babbitt this year.
Yeah, we've had some players that have had significant upticks in their production over their time. A lot of credit to our assistant coaches. Fran Rakia, Alexa Golden, Paige Salisbury, spent a lot of time with them in the gym, individual workouts, off season, getting in, shooting, the work that we put in practice, trying to help them improve, the mental approach to the game, their toughness, all that. But the willingness to do that comes from within. Yeah. And it's been great to see. You mentioned those 3 players in particular, but we've had other players that have had marked improvement since we've been here, and it's great to see that, and it's really ultimately what's led to our success.
Your program has now had 20 or more wins in 3 straight years. You've also advanced to the MAC semifinals for 3 straight years. Those are both feats that this program has not accomplished in over 2 decades. What does that mean to you, Coach?
Well, it just means we're doing things the right way. We've worked hard. This is just finishing my 9th year, which is crazy to think about. We've worked really hard to get the program to this point. I think the centerpiece of that is recruiting high quality student athletes, young women who are committed to things bigger than themselves. Continuing to retain players and not lose players to the transfer portal for the most part, not having a lot of turnover on our coaching staff. That type of consistency, I think, breeds what we were able to do over the last 3-year run, specifically in 3 20-win seasons, the tournament semifinals each of those years, and then last year, obviously, ultimately getting the first MAC tournament championship and NCAA tournament berth in over 20 years as well. So, it's an exciting time to be a part of Kent State women's basketball. We're looking forward to, the season just ended. There's no rest for the weary. We're already looking towards next year and building and continuing to try and retain players and move towards the future and trying to have a fourth 20-win season if we can.
How are you preparing for this year's challenge, not only of retaining players, but also potentially adding some new faces to the roster as well?
Yeah, people are like, when are your big recruiting times of the year and that type of thing? And I say all year. It literally doesn't stop. We're already in process of thinking about transfers coming in. I'm hopeful that we won't lose anybody. You never know when players have the opportunity to look for things. They can, but I'm hopeful that everybody will stay and that we have the opportunity to continue to grow this program around some of the centerpieces that we have coming back and 3 freshmen signed and coming in and opportunities to maybe bring in some transfers that can enhance the program moving forward.
Can you tell us a little bit about those 3 freshmen coming in, Coach?
We've got 3 freshman guards that are coming in, all a little bit different. Caitlin Holmes from Akron, Riley Calicay from the Pittsburgh area, and Anna Campanelli from suburban Chicago. All 3 are all-state level players and bring a little bit different. They're all dynamic players, and I think will continue to feed the talent level of this team and will give us an opportunity to have success moving forward as we try to pursue another MAC championship.
And that's Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey. Thanks for the time.
Sounds good. Go Flashes.
I think you can do so much from traveling the world. So many people just stay in the box that we live in.
The study abroad program at Kent State made it clear what path I should be taking.
Experiencing the different classes to experiencing the art and the buildings and the culture. I'm just hoping to take back everything I've learned and be able to apply it into whatever I do in the future.
Kent State has basically helped to set up the vision for the career that I want to be able to go through.
Dane Richardson joined in our Flashtalk studios by Executive Director of Sports Medicine at the Cleveland Clinic, Dr. Lutul Farrow. Doctor, appreciate you joining me and talking about this new partnership between Kent State Athletics and the Cleveland Clinic. I know you were a big part in spearheading that.
And we are extremely excited about the partnership. And I love the way you use the term partnership, because this is truly a partnership between Kent State and their student athletes and the Cleveland Clinic. Certainly this opportunity came to us last year, and some opportunities you look at and you say, well, maybe this is not in line with our overall vision, but this was one we looked at and said we absolutely have to get this. Mm-hmm. Cleveland Clinic is a global enterprise. We have hospitals all over the world, and when we look at Kent State as being certainly a care partner, Kent State is also an international entity within higher education. Certainly for us, we want to be able to take care of the best and the brightest, and Kent State certainly was that, for our medical team at the Cleveland Clinic.
Coming up, the Global Peak Performance Center that you were talking to me about a little bit earlier. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
So the Global Peak Performance Center is a partnership that we have with the Cleveland Cavaliers. We've taken care of the Cleveland Cavaliers for many decades. And we're at a point now where sports performance is huge within athletics, not only at the collegiate level, but all the way from Pee-wees all the way to the pros. And the key thing right now is, how can I get bigger, stronger, faster? How can I become a better athlete, physically, mentally, so that I can be best for myself, for my team? And so we just recently entered into this partnership to build this facility in the heart of downtown Cleveland, just down the hill from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, as well as Progressive Field. And, it's going to be a joint facility, which is going to become the Cavs' new training facility. And right next door is going to be our clinical facility for the Cleveland Clinic, which is going to be 60,000 plus square feet of everything for the care of the athlete. And one of the big things we tell people, this is not just a basketball facility. This is for all athletes in all walks of life, the weekend warriors, the high-level athlete who just want to get better and be their absolute best.
Is there an ETA for when potentially that facility is going to be built?
So the actual brick and mortar will be done, summer of 2027. Okay. But, certainly it's bigger than just brick and mortar. So you got to have programming and all the other things that kind of go into that. And obviously we have the excellent physicians and consultants that go into that. And those things are already available now. Athletes can still come and still receive the very best of the Cleveland Clinic. But now we're just going to have a home for all these things, which is going to be fantastic.
Whether it's from high school, the pros, to college, what's potentially different about working with college athletes here at Kent State?
I was a Division III kid myself, and I always wanted to go D1, and this has been my opportunity to go D1. And part of the reason, you know how good you are when you're taking care of the very best. And as I always tell my my trainees and others, I say you want to be a competitive advantage for the school and for the student athletes. So you want to help them be their best and really help them reach their overall goals. And when people are doing it at the highest level, you certainly know just how good you are, certainly in terms of what you do as a surgeon and as a clinician.
And what's your favorite part about working with athletes specifically and seeing them recover?
I'm going to call them kids just because, I'm of that age and I have a college athlete myself, but it's kind of working with the kids, certainly because, I used to be one of these kids who used to be a former athlete and I had my goals and things like that. And certainly when you see an athlete and they're not necessarily at their best because of an injury, it's just so exciting to kind of get them back. And knowing what we do kind of affects the whole athlete. It's not just what they do on the field, but it's what they do in the classroom, because athletics is so tied to that, academic component too. It's their identity, who they are. And so we want them to be able to do that, for them to succeed, not only here at Kent State, but also in the future when they become adults and members of society.
When people talk to you, a lot of times they marvel at what you do as a surgeon and helping out athletes. So how do you try and stay balanced with everything working in the medical field?
It's kind of what I've wanted to do since I was very, very young. And, and I get up every day and I go to work, and it's just sort of what I do, whether, you're a teacher or you're a business person, you kind of get up and you go and do your job. And, and I think there's a certain piece that goes to it because, people are coming to you and they're trusting you with their deepest, darkest secrets and medical and their bodies and all those sorts of things. And so I take those things very seriously as a surgeon and as a specialist. But it's a day in the office for me, essentially. And it's just kind of weird that my office includes sometimes being inside people's knees and shoulders and things like that.
Dr. Lutul Farrow, doctor, we always appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up this week in Kent State Athletics, brought to you by KSU Ticks. Women's golf starts a Friday, Saturday, Sunday tournament in the Florida State matchup in Tallahassee. Softball and baseball each have a 3-game set this weekend against Bowling Green. Gymnastics has the MAC Championship starting at 2 p.m. in Mount Pleasant, Michigan on Saturday the 22nd. On Sunday, men's golf starts a 3-day invitational hootie at the Bulls Bay, hosted by the University of South Carolina. Women's lacrosse is back inside Dick Stadium on Sunday the 23rd for a 1 p.m. first draw against Detroit Mercy. On Tuesday, softball has a doubleheader at home on Divine Diamond against Robert Morris. And finally, Kent State baseball welcomes number 9 Oregon to Schoonover Stadium for a 3 p.m. first pitch. You can catch that game on ESPN+. As always, you can buy your tickets at ksutix.com. If you want more information on your favorite Flashes teams, visit kentstatesports.com or visit the Go Flashes app. We'll be back with more right after this.
For every just one more mile to your next ace on the court, when you have a sports-related injury, Cleveland Clinic is here. For our Cavaliers, our Guardians, and athletes at all levels, our sports medicine team helps keep you in the game. With expert diagnosis, personalized sports therapies, and game-changing surgeries. For every injury, for every athlete, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
Today, the world could use a little more understanding. Understanding nurtured by shared values. We come together at Kent State. Different dreams, different viewpoints, united by purpose. Preparing to make a difference in our divided world. Wherever you are in your life's journey, come learn with us. Begin at Kent State.
Joined by Kent State Gymnastics head coach Brice Biggin. Coach, appreciate you joining me. And you haven't had the chance to be on Flashtalk since your team clinched the MAC regular season title. How impressive is that for your team?
I think it speaks volumes about the type of team we have this year. And it wasn't easy. But to be able to win both home and on the road against the competition that we have in the MAC, I think was really important for us, number one. But once again, what we overcame to be able to win those just speaks volumes about the team, because it's not easy to run the table in a MAC season ever, and to be able to do it this year, I think was really, really impressive.
You just finished up a meet in Columbus, a quad meet. Take me through what you thought.
We had a good team score. I thought we performed pretty well. At this point in time of the year, though, we're looking for them to really hit on all the little things that make a huge difference in your team scoring. And I thought at the end of the meet, we kind of made some really small mistakes that most people aren't going to look at and think that they're that important. But for us, and being able to potentially, win a championship this coming weekend, and giving us our, a chance to win or to make it to NCAA regionals, those little things kind of hurt us this weekend.
Charlie Boehner had a nice performance. She did well, a new individual high on floor. She also led in the quad meet in bars. So what are you seeing out of her that's led to her success?
I think for her, it's really just a matter of her gaining her confidence in herself, getting a little bit more experience. But, she's certainly a very dynamic gymnast and one that can score extremely well. So it's been really nice to see her step up and really start to fill in some leadership roles.
What other gymnasts throughout the season do you think have shown the biggest improvement?
Nastya Rudnitskaya started off a little bit timid this year, and we've seen her continually work harder in practice and put a good amount of pressure on herself, but in the right way, where I think she has stepped up her game and she's competing really well right now. Heidi Schultz obviously has been a really important person for us and has continued to develop all year. She's one who's going to give you 100%. Having her on both bars and beam has been just super important for us.
What are you most proud of with this year's senior class?
Their ability to step up as leaders. They're following a group with 5 really good seniors last year, and there's only 3 of them. And so that puts a little bit more pressure on them. And also the success that we had last year makes it a little bit difficult, because, how do you follow that up? We broke all kinds of records, made it to NCAA regionals. But yet this year's team was the only team to be sole regular season champions. And, that's a huge statement for that senior class.
What's the buildup like this week in practice to try and get your gymnasts ready to perform at the highest level?
For us, we just need to take a deep breath, relax, and just understand, number one, we have beaten all the teams that are there. So for us, we need to go out there and not try and beat someone else. We need to go out and focus on performing our routines the way we do. And the other teams are going to have to do something different to try and beat us. So, that's a very comforting thing, even though we're going into Central Michigan, which, normally is a pretty tough place to go in and compete. We've had good success there the last couple of years in our dual meets out there. So, I think right now we're in a great position.
Where do you guys think you'll need to maybe improve a little bit or perform the best at in the MAC championship?
I think floor is going to be the biggest key for us. It's an event that in the past has always been probably our strongest event and our best scoring event. This year we've struggled with being consistent over there and scoring the way that we feel we should. It's also our first event that we compete at MAC championships. And so it's going to be super important for us to really get a good start, feel like we gained some good momentum, and be able to continue to move. Then the other events, I think, have really done a good job this year. Brice has really, the last 5 weeks, I think, has improved drastically. And that's something that we were really expecting from them most of the year. So if we can start off solid on floor, we know we finish on beam, always a tough event to finish on. But once again, I think we really trust the 6 girls that we have over there, that if they're in a tight situation, they're going to be able to get the job done at the end of the meet.
That's Kent State Gymnastics head coach Brice Biggin. Coach, best of luck at the MAC championships this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Flash Talk. Make sure you tune in again next week as we dive deep into the heart of the spring season for Kent State Athletics. For our entire GFTV studio, Ethan Lachinsky, Justin Spots, I'm Dane Richardson saying good night and go Flashes.
As you know, Kent State Athletics, our basketball team has historically been a huge part of our athletic department. We have a winning tradition. We always bring a great game. But in today's day and age, the basketball game itself isn't going to entice the average fan. We really need to come over the top. We need to do these exciting things like they do in professional sports. And without sponsors or partners like Ken Ganley, we wouldn't be able to afford to do like tonight, the esports night with the Ken Ganley game room. Also being able to do the $10,000 putt at halftime that they're supporting. So those types of things help us advertise and get out into the community and maybe reach people who are not just the average basketball fan. They also help us out off the court. So many of our faculty, our staff, and our coaching know that they can go to Ken Ganley Chevrolet, get themselves a vehicle in a short amount of time without having to shop everywhere. They're so important to us on so many levels that we're just so grateful that they're a part of our family, and I don't know how we would live without them.